Howdy folks, welcome back. It's August 25th, 2020, and another beautiful day here in the state of Washington. Going to be about 75 degrees today. And I think I can detect a little bit of fall in the air, and it seems like maybe things are going to be cooling down a little bit. I'm sure that is what they're wishing for in California, because it seems like that state is on the verge of burning up. It's amazing, the fires and the temperatures down there. It's just it's too bad, and we need to thank all those firefighters. So we have another image of another butte, another GIGAPAN picture, and this one's pretty good. It's interesting how in these GIGAPANs, in some places they can be just so incredibly crystal clear, and then another place not quite, not as much. I don't know why that is. So if you look to the far right of this picture right here, you can see a big piece of something that was torn off, and it's right next to this other thing to the left here, which is looks like the superstructure of a vessel. It reminds me very much of the superstructure, the bridge, the upper floors of an ocean-going vessel. There's just floor after floor after floor, and if you look at the top left, one of the black stripes there on the very edge, it looks like you can see through there. So it's as if these are windows. These are windows on the world, and it really does look very much like a cruise ship, I gotta say. They look just exactly like that. Yeah, I wonder if they had cruise ships up in the sky, Not only did they have war vessels, but they entertained in space above the planet. Now here's a triangular vessel that's perpendicular to the butte, and it's got so much detail in there. It's an incredible picture, and there's so much stuff here in this picture. I wish we could understand exactly what it is that we're looking at when we see pictures like this with all this stuff. What I wouldn't do to know what 5% of it is, or get a close enough or a clear enough and close enough picture where you could really make out exactly what it is. Now there's looking to the left here, you can see this light colored stuff coming down. Now there's lots of shapes in there, just like we've been saying all along. It's always the same shape, isn't it? If you take a look at it there for a second, you'll see all kinds of triangular shapes. Because as far as I can tell, triangles are the only shapes they have. I swear, I just love to see something rectangular. But this is a very big opening here, the top part of it in this picture. And I would say it was a very large vessel that went down here, and it was broken up. And you can tell it goes back in there. I'd also love to be able to see what's back in there. But look at this metal here, this exposed metal. I mean, there is a lot of detail in this picture. Not to mention a lot of color. It's very beautiful. These are the typical colors that we see throughout all of the buttes. This silver and gold metal. And big piece of hull there in the top left, just kind of hanging there right at the 9 o'clock now. And this stuff, you'll see it at all different kinds of angles. When stuff falls down, it doesn't all just fall down nice and flat. And right in the dead center, you can see where a vehicle in the past, a vessel had come down at an angle and left those lines there like that. And occasionally, I'm going to point out a couple of these triangular crafts just for the fun of it. Now look at this. This thing here, again, it's another vehicle, it's another vessel, and there's also, again, this tremendous amount of detail on this. You can see really very clearly a lot of that stuff. You just don't know what it is. It's not fair that we don't know what it is. And this is the bottom of this butte, and there's the sides of these vessels have been exposed. You can see there's different sizes, different thicknesses. So a great big thick one would be a larger vessel. A very narrow one would be a smaller vessel. Look at all that metal. Look at all that detail. It's incredible. And up towards the top, we've got some other broken down pieces of vessels. This one dead center at the top looks like it looks similar to some of the tube-shaped ones that we've talked about in the past. That look like a flying fuselage. Looks just like the fuselage on an airplane, but no wings and no tail. And that could be what that is. We've seen, a number of those over the past several months in these videos. The part I'm still hung up on, though, is why we have these buttes and why they're built up on these buttes. Or is this just what's remaining after all the millions of years of this falling apart and falling down to the ground, eroding? This here looks like that on the right, coming in from the 3 o'clock position, that looks like a turret with a broken gun on it. I have to go back and look at that. Once again, I'm a little slow on the draw. And so this upper layer of this butte is a vessel, just like all the layers, but this is what came down last. And we have some examples of probably weapons on turrets, at least one on a turret. And here's an example, a strange picture kind of two separate kinds of butte. The gray from the right looks like it's in front of what's on the brown, in front of the brown. I can't spit it out. Very unusual. And then on the top of this hill, and we still have to use those terms, hills and rocks and that kind of thing, but these are not rocks, but these are pieces of vessel, a lot of superstructure. It seems like whatever's on top of these triangular craft always get broken off separately and go their own ways from the main vessel, from the from the big triangular part. But all this stuff is coming out of the sides of these buttes in a real big way. I mean, there's so much of it here in this picture. This is in the you see the light gray in the back in the 8 o'clock position. That's actually behind this big dark area. And up on top, last to come down, we have another vessel of some sort. I'm assuming it's triangular. However, I gotta say, from this angle, it's a little bit different looking than what you might expect. But right next to it here is a smaller triangular vessel. And somebody said that, well, Tom really likes to point out, these triangular vessels. He was really into these vessels and these crafts. And my answer to that is there's nothing else to look at. That's what's in all of the pictures. That's what everything is. Here's a triangular craft, speaking of which, just kind of hanging on the side of this hill with the front end of that vessel hung up by itself coming down from the 11 o'clock position. But there's nothing else. I mean, what else is there? As far as I can tell, in all of these buttes, they're all the same. They all are made up of vessels. Notice the pattern on the ground sloping down the hill. You see the little black flecks. We'll see more of that coming up. And this is zoomed way out, so it's not a real good picture, but I wanted to get a shot of that square thing. And then right in the middle of the screen there's some kind of mechanical thing pointing up. Obviously, I don't know what it is. It's kind of interesting. Now, this is a picture that I thought I recognized this thing sticking out here, and I did see this in a previous video. This is a picture from the previous video. It was a different angle, and a different sol day. So obviously the rover had moved around and apparently up a little bit and got a view of a different view of this thing. And it's pretty incredible. You can see it's really squared off quite well and actually snapped off pretty square too. And then also all of this debris on the ground is also very interesting looking. It's all piled up. Again, that one top piece on the top looks like something from the top of a triangular vessel. And all of this apparent rocks, as you know, is all debris. Whenever you look close, you can tell there's a pattern on these rocks. Sometimes it looks as if they're carved, but I think it's really just the pattern of the deteriorating metal. And in the background, once again, we're seeing something that looks like, they're the telltale signs of a very huge vessel back there. The big, long, straight strip, it's made out of pieces. These are the things that we see when we look in the background of these ultra huge vessels. This picture, however, isn't real definitive. It's a little hard to make out the overall shape. Just there you saw what looks like a turret, but it's really hard for me to make out the shape. There's enough there for me to say, to feel comfortable in saying that there is a very, very, very enormous vessel back there, but the picture isn't real definitive, and but it's enough for me. Whether it is for you or not, I don't know. Same thing here, more strips. Anywhere you see these vast open areas, based on the previous videos, we really need to take a close look. Here's another triangular craft that appears to be upside down. It's a small one. It's got a lot of damage in the front, as they always do. And it's just laying down on the ground up front. Here's another one that came down obviously a long time ago, like the others, and this one is deteriorated quite a bit. There's not much left of it there. Just the overall shape. And again, whenever you're looking at these buttes, after you've been looking at these long enough, I can't believe the telephone.
Call from Aberdeen, WA.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Hopefully they won't call back. I don't know. We'll find out. I forgot to point out there that was a very large vessel, perpendicular, just the front end of it that we got to see. And then here's another small superstructure. It looks like the bridge on the top of a vessel somewhere. And we have all of the... here's another perpendicular triangular craft that's coming down the middle. Got a little bent. And again, the amount of detail is really incredible. I'm freaked out. All I can think about is this phone ringing again. Oh boy. So here we have two different levels. What the brown is closest to us, and the gray is in the back there. And a lot of that is falling off. Big chunks coming down. And you can see how that was put together with the individual pieces. And then we've got the mountains in the background. And I tried to bring that in. Now here's a nice little piece. Again, I was started to look at just the sand on this. I thought it was an unusual looking sand. And over and over we have obfuscation where they use sand to cover things up. And first thing I thought was the rocks in the middle of that sand looked pretty funny, But looking closely, what is going on here? This looks like something they were going to obfuscate and then they stopped halfway through. I mean, you can clearly see where assuming it's NASA, were going to cover this up, I guess. And then you can see it goes straight across onto the other dune on the other side, and it points in between as well. I just think that's I don't know what to think of it. You know that it's obfuscation, but what are they, you know, why only part of it? Now take a look at the shape of this thing, okay? There's a triangular craft underneath there, and right next to it is one of those long flying tubes. That's exactly what that is. And those stupid rocks in the middle of it it's just the worst obfuscation I've ever seen. It almost draws more attention to it. And just a few more of these things that I pointed out. There's there's just an abundance of these kinds of things. I guess I like to point them out for people who haven't been watching my channel. And now we have an airplane flying over the top. Boy, oh boy. More metal sticking out. I'm living next to a lake right now. That's it's a one of those planes that lands on the water. He's really loud when he takes off. And that looks like a bunch of metal. It looks like there's some missile shapes in there. This almost looks like pillars in a way, you know. I seriously doubt if that's what it is, but that's kind of what it looks like. Now this thing down coming up from the 6 o'clock position is a really strange item. It's hollowed out, looks kind of like a helmet or something. But what's behind it is blurred, okay? They've blurred this little square area behind there. There's stuff in there they obviously didn't want us to see. And I couldn't really change it or make it any better, so all I did was just blow it up, and you can see some things in there. It looks like some piping and, you know, some other shapes. But unfortunately I couldn't cut through that blur or do anything to make it look any better. And here we again have another one of our friends. These are the easy ones, I guess I'm showing you. But, you know, as I said, it just strikes me is that there's just only one geometric shape that you ever see in all of these pictures over and over. What is it about that triangular shape? What is it? Here there's the ground completely covered with all kinds of debris. This is what they would like us to believe is dry lake bed. And I think we know now that that's obviously not true. Here's another triangular vessel down on the ground. And look at the pattern on the ground. You see that? This is the deteriorating hull that I've been talking about. And it's everywhere. And it will literally go out as far as the eye can see in some pictures. And virtually every picture you look at closely on the ground, you will see this pattern of these black flecks, which is the deteriorating hull. And look at all this metal sticking out on the side. Isn't that just something? Not to mention it's rather pretty looking too. Here's the front end of a destroyed triangular craft. Just the front end of it. Don't know where the rest is. And so often the rocks look like rocks until you come in close on them. And look at this rock coming in from the 9 o'clock position. Half of it is covered with technology. Crazy. Well, thanks a lot for watching, folks. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.